setup for the Los Angeles and Orange County Audio Society's annual December Gala. This is just the front table and the names of the folks that are going to be joining us. It's an all-star cast here at the DoubleTree Inn in Buena Park. Everybody's getting busy. Putting out the prizes.
Actually, find all the impact. Stack them.
And the setup for the entry of the participants. Hi everyone. So here are the prizes that are going to be offered here at the gala. We got lots of vinyl, speakers, power cords, power conditioners. Lots of good vinyl. High-end headphones from War. Phono stage from Zesto Audio. Miles Davis. Some pretty good looking stuff. And the grand prize, let me get over there. Bob Levy's in my way, but that's okay. Some stand mounts from Wilson Audio. I think they're valued at around $12K. So that's the grand prize this year. I also see a very nice looking, what appears to be a headphone amplifier from Shit Audio. Valhalla. I've owned their equipment in the past. Yeah, very nice looking stuff. The panel members are assembling. We will be getting started soon.
Thank you. Well, first, I want to welcome everybody here to the 32nd Annual LA and Orange County Audio Society Gala and Awards Ceremony. This is our grand event that we have every year, and we're so happy that all of you were able to make it today. My name is Mike Wechsberg. I'm the president of the society, and I want to thank all the members and their friends and esteemed guests that we have here today, an extra large number of esteemed guests. We've got a pretty jam-packed afternoon, so I want to get started pretty quickly. Just want to take a few minutes to thank a few people who helped us with this. First of all, I'd like to thank the banquet staff here at the DoubleTree by Hilton. You haven't experienced very much of it yet, but you will. They do an excellent job for us every year. We've been at this hotel for this event for quite a few years, and they do a wonderful job for us, very responsive, and also very flexible because we tend to bug them a lot. I'd also like to thank the ladies from the Alpha Chi Omega sorority at UC Irvine for their work in checking people in and helping with the raffle tickets. Thank you, ladies. And a special acknowledgement to our senior VP, Michael Fremer. He really made an outsized contribution this year. Not only did he guide us towards some great music all year long, but he worked tirelessly to filter dozens of recordings to pick the Audiophile recording of the year. which will be presenting here today. And most importantly, it was also liaison for us to help us get our Founders Award winner and our Innovation Award winner, really facilitated their appearances here today. Would have been a lot harder, if not impossible, without Michael. So please give a hand to Michael Fremer. So we arranged for everybody who's attending today to get some free gifts. Everybody who, first 100 people or couples that came in should have gotten a CD. It was donated by Yarlung Records. Bob Attia is the leader of that group. The society has always had a close relationship with him. Unfortunately, Bob is off somewhere recording something and couldn't make it today. But we appreciate his gesture, and we hope you enjoy that CD. I wanted to thank Sierra Ortiz and David Solomon of Cobuzz. Everybody should have gotten a card entitling you to a 60-day free trial of Cobuzz. If you don't currently use Cobuzz for streaming, I highly recommend that you do. They're really high-quality streaming and a great service that they provide. So I want to thank them also. I'd like to give a shout out to Jim Austin and Julie Mullins of Stereophile. Stereophile arranged for everybody here to receive a copy of the latest Stereophile magazine. And Julie's the one that I interface with to get our meeting announcements into the magazine every month. So I wanted to recognize them and please give them a hand of applause. And also to Robert Harley from The Absolute Sound. He arranged for everyone here to get a copy of The Absolute Sound. Thank you. I know many of you may already subscribe to those magazines and may already subscribe to Cobuzz. I ask that if you think you don't need those, don't just leave them here or throw them away. Try to give them to somebody, a friend or a young person. Maybe you can light the bug of audio into their minds by giving them that gift. So please don't let it go to waste. Try giving it to somebody that you may know that might enjoy reading it or using Cobuzz. I'd also like to personally thank there's a number of board members who worked really hard to put this event together. I've been telling people this is kind of like putting together a wedding. There's all the guests, and there's prizes and invitations and seating. I kind of feel like a wedding planner. But I couldn't have done it without the help of several of the board members. I'm not going to name them right now because I'll probably leave somebody out, but I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this event easier for me, and I hope more enjoyable for all of you. So now I'd like to introduce to you our chairman of the board, who will introduce the dais and send us off to lunch. Here is Bob Levy.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. You know I was in broadcasting. In fact, my grandson here, Garrett Prelock, he was always seeing me saying testing 1, 2, 3. So when he graduated from elementary school, he got up to the microphone, and instead of giving his speech, he said, "Testing 1, 2, 3, testing," and the teacher nearly fell over. Couldn't believe it. My dear friends and audiophiles, I am truly honored to introduce our Star-Studded Dais to the Society. On my immediate right, our youngest officer, Gen Z Instagram marketing manager, vice president and assistant to the chairman, Garrett Preluck. Next to him is Innovation Award winner and Executive Vice President of Membership and Development, Carolyn Counnas. Next to her, this year's Innovation Award winner, the truly amazing Bernie Grundman. Next to him, the past Founders Award winner, the legendary genius, Keith Johnson. Though Keith may be chairman of Reference Recordings, Marcia is the decision maker. The wonderful Marcia Martin. Finally, hold on to your seats, the man with 29 patents, the inventor of planar headphones, the inventor of electrostatic headphones using carbon nanodes, past Innovation Award winner, Audazy's own Dr. Drag Kolich, Dr. C. Our fantastic, to my left, on my immediate left, our fantastic president and CEO, Mike Wechsberg. Past Founders Award winner, editor of The Tracking Angle, editor at large of The Absolute Sound, Senior Society Vice President of Analog and All Things Round, Audiophile Recording of the Year Award adjudicator, and our Master of Ceremonies, Michael Fremer. Next to Michael, is editor and chief of The Absolute Sound, supreme writer and editor, and he is a hell of a writer. Past Founders Award winner, Robert Harley. Co-founder of Wilson Audio Specialties, the business manager that guided the success of the company, our Founders Award winner, the extraordinary Sheryl Lee Wilson. The CEO of Wilson Audio Specialties, son of Sheryl Lee Wilson, Daryl Wilson. Yes. Past winner of the Innovation Award, CEO of Stein Music of Germany, our Society's Senior Vice President for Industry Relations Europe. Joining us all the way from Germany, Holger Stein. And finally, but not least, contributing writer to The Tracking Angle, renowned audiophile, and classical musical specialist for the ARYA Award, Mark Ward. The beautiful ladies of Alpha Chi Omega will be here until 2 o'clock. Please take the opportunity to buy more raffle tickets. The more you buy, the better your chance that you'll win. And the prizes are outstanding this year, just outstanding. And I was just looking at one of them in particular, the Dolman record clamp. He, I can't remember his first name. Is it Mark Dolman or Frank Dolman? Mark. Oh, hello. What a pleasure. This is the inventor of the Continuum Caliburn turntable that everyone knows about, which was only $250,000, but I think it was Australian dollars, so it was much cheaper. That's why Michael Fremer was able to afford it. He has invented a record clamp that is unbelievable. It's out there on the table. I can't remember. I think it's about $3,000. $3,500, the most gorgeous record clamp you ever saw in your life. So anybody in the room who is unbelievably jaded, who thinks they have everything, they don't have this. So buy raffle tickets until 2 o'clock. We count on those revenues for the year. All proceeds go to the society. All board members are asked to assemble outside the back of the hotel for a group picture, please. Bill, remember that this year. All board members are asked to assemble outside the back of the hotel for a group picture. All others may now line up for the lavish holiday buffet. Mercario is standing in the back of the room. Where do you want everybody to go? Okay, the rear door, he's heading that direction. Our maitre d', Mercario, has been our maitre d' for the last 15 years here at this hotel. It's a lavish holiday buffet. You may go back as often as you like. Thank you, one and all.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be back here at another gala and see so many old friends again. And I'm particularly happy to be at this gala because... Testing? I'll use your line.
1, 2, 3. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. How's that?
Yeah, perfect.
So I'm particularly happy to be at this gala because today is the day that the Society honors David and Sheryl Lee Wilson for their contribution to high-end audio. So I'd like to talk a little bit about Wilson Audio, my perspective on them, and what their success means for some fundamental values of high-end audio. So I've reviewed a lot of Wilson speakers over the years. I've been to the factory a few times, and I've had Dave at my house doing setups. So I have a pretty good idea of how the products are designed and built and conceived, and the culture of the company. So I'd like to start with 3 questions. The first question is there a more iconic loudspeaker company in the world than Wilson Audio? And from my perspective, it's hard to think of one. The second question is, how many loudspeaker companies have there been in the last 40 years? And we can't know the precise number, but it's a lot, like many hundreds or perhaps even 1,000. And the third and most important question is, out of that, say, 1,000 companies, why is it that Wilson achieved the status and success that it did and not those other companies? What did Wilson do that was different? So that's what I'm going to talk about today. But first we need a little history. So although Wilson was founded in 1974, I'm going to focus on the period in the mid-1980s. And during that time, Wilson was making and selling the WAM. Everyone knows the Wilson Audio Modular Monitor, that giant, very ambitious loudspeaker that proved the concept of the importance of time alignment between drivers. And during that time, Dave was also an occasional contributor to the Absolute Sound. Does anyone remember his cartridge review, his cartridge survey from that period? It was a model of clarity in audio reviewing. And Dave was also an avid recording engineer, releasing recordings on the Wilson Audiophile label. In fact, they had 33 releases in the catalog. And some of those recordings still stand up as references today. And when you do location recording like that, you need a really accurate monitor system, because it's the monitor system that the engineer uses to make judgments about microphones, microphone placement, musician placement, and all those other decisions. So absolute accuracy in a monitor is essential. So Dave couldn't find a monitor that met his satisfaction that was commercially available, so he decided to build his own in his garage. So he built this one-off pair purely for his own use, no other intention beyond just using it for his monitor. He actually built two pair, one was a backup. And he also used this little speaker, the funny looking thing with a truncated pyramid and a slope baffle and a grab handle on the back to demonstrate his recordings. And people who heard this speaker thought it sounded fabulous and encouraged him to make it a commercial product. But Dave was skeptical, to say the least, because he knew how much it would cost to build and what it would have to sell for at retail, which would be many times the price of, say, a Celestion SL600, which is kind of a reference at that time. But nevertheless, he was encouraged to take it to the January 1986 Consumer Electronics Show, where the speaker was called the Wilson Audio Tiny Tot, or WAT, and Sheryl Lee gave it that name. So a parallel with the WAM, the Wilson Audio Modular Monitor, WAM, Wilson Audio Tiny Tot. And the response was overwhelming. Dave said later, "We took more orders for it from consumers in 2 years than I thought we'd sell, in 2 days, than I thought we'd sell to studios in 2 years." So that event I see as the birth of Wilson Audio as we know it today. And the Watt, later augmented with the Puppy subwoofer, which was a stand for the Watt, provided more low-frequency extension, became the best-selling loudspeaker over $10,000 in history, which is really a remarkable achievement. And as a reviewer and magazine editor, I've been approached by many speaker manufacturers pitching me their new speaker, saying, "Our new speaker is as good as the Watt Puppy." That's the status that the Watt Puppy enjoyed. The Watt Puppy was to loudspeakers what a Porsche 911 is to sports cars. So creating a product that people want to buy is one thing, but creating the infrastructure, a company, to build and market that speaker is something else entirely. And this is the other half of the Wilson Audio story, how Sheryl Lee set up the company and ran the business and did all the things needed to make and market and achieve that success and build the foundation of the company for all the innovations that were to come later. And in fact, years before that, it was Sheryl Lee who encouraged Dave to quit his day job and focus full-time on audio. And Dave had a good job at the time and a promising career path. And they had a young family, and he was reluctant to give up that steady source of income and because he wanted to support his family. But Sheryl Lee saw the passion and commitment that Dave had and encouraged him to quit his job and follow audio. So Wilson Audio would never have existed without Sheryl Lee. And Wilson Audio went on to define a new aesthetic in performance, in build quality, fit and finish, and the way high-end products are marketed and sold. And the company's professionalism in design, manufacturing, dealer training, and marketing set a standard for the entire industry. Wilson Audio epitomized the industry's maturation from hobbyist garage-driven operation to mainstream legitimacy. And Wilson also changed the industry by proving that you could charge a premium price for a product so long as that product delivered premium performance, premium build, premium fit and finish, and a premium customer experience. Wilson Audio's products inspired confidence in the entire high-end audio industry. So here's an anecdote that during a factory tour with Dave, he was showing me around the factory, and we saw a craftsman buffing out a little paint flaw on the bottom of a speaker cabinet. And they pointed out the flaw to me. It was a little ripple in the paint, and I had to look really closely to see what the flaw was. And it's on the bottom of the cabinet, a place where no one would see. And I questioned Dave about this, and I said, is this really cost effective to spend the time and money to do that? And he explained to me that they had a culture of perfection at the factory, that if they started allowing any types of flaws, it could dilute the culture of making the best possible thing you could make. That was the standard. And that says so much about the Wilson Audio aesthetic. So in conclusion, I'd like to return to that question of why out of 1,000 loudspeaker companies did Wilson Audio succeed so spectacularly? And the answer can trace back to the origins of the Watt. So when Dave conceived and built the Watt, there were no other considerations or compromises for cost, for scalability, manufacturability, appearance, marketing perception. It was purely on the basis of sound quality and performance. And it was very different than someone creating a commercial product. It was simply the best thing that he knew how to make. And the other reason is that some speaker designers try to make a product that they think people will like. Dave's goal was not that. Dave's goal was absolute accuracy because his recordings depended on it. So it's that uncompromising pursuit of musical realism and that led to Wilson Audio's remarkable success, and that says so much about the highest ideals of our industry. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Robert. That was great. So now I'm going to turn you over to our MC for the rest of the event, to Michael Fremer, and he's going to start with the Audiophile Recording of the Year Award. Michael.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. So Bob put me in the unenvious position of choosing one record out of all the records that came out last year to give an award to as the best record of the year. So it's obviously it's an impossible task to do. And rather than have a committee do that, he just left it to me to do it. But fortunately, I've got a wonderful staff of music writers at the website. I have over 20 people writing for me. And my preeminent classical music reviewer is Mark Ward, who's a phenomenal writer and has a big following. And Mark reviews things, and when Mark says something is great, I usually go out and buy a copy, which is what I did with the record that we gave the award to. And then when I saw that the engineer and the producer was Shawn Murphy, who I've known for the 20-something years. I interviewed him in the 90s when I had a print magazine called Tracking Angle. And one of Bob's edicts was that the person who gets, that the record that gets the award has to have a person come and pick up the award. And this is a fantastic piece of music, and it's a Shostakovich piano recording that Mark is going to come over and talk about because he can talk about it much better than I can talk about it. But then it got a Grammy nomination too. So we're all on the same page for this being a phenomenal and wonderful performance. Come on up here. And he's going to put on this British accent, but he's really from Southern California. Don't. So talk about the record, and then Shawn, you want to come up here too, and we'll have a threesome here. So here, grab the mic. And,
You need a copy, or you got it?
No, I got it.
All right.
Here we go. Here's the record. You all should buy it. It's absolutely phenomenal. This is very dangerous, having all these former radio guys up here with microphones. Things could get a little out of control. But anyway, the other record that Shawn engineered and produced is this one, which is actually equally magnificent, though less obviously perhaps. This is of the Shostakovich cello concertos. Let me just say, one of the things I've been writing about are the series of Deutsche Grammophon original source reissues. And many of these, the best sonically, were recorded in Symphony Hall in the 70s. Thomas Maury, who's still alive, was one of the engineers who supervised. He had a lot of experience in surround sound because these recordings integrate surround channels. And this record is fully the equal, if not in some ways surpassing, that noble lineage. It sounds amazing. When I dropped the needle, I actually didn't know who had engineered this. And I wrote this in my review. When I dropped the needle and the whole thing takes off like a firecracker, I would just jump out of my seat. First of all, I was thinking, this is so dynamic, this is so realistic, and the piano sounds incredible. It's very hard to get good sound on a piano, especially classical recording. So there's nothing negative to say about this record. It's stunning, and it's a real, I actually thought it was so stunning, I wasn't sure it was as stunning as I thought it was. So I emailed Mike, I said, is this really as good as I think it is? And he said, absolutely. So I want to introduce you, the man behind this. I wish you all could have overheard our conversation. We chatted for about 30 minutes, because I'm also a huge film music fan, and Shawn is legendary. I mean, you are actually in the presence of one of the truly legendary engineers. He himself talks about Kenneth Wilkinson, who, if you follow classical, you know was one of the greatest engineers ever, developed the Decca sound. And he's in that company. It's a very small group of engineers. So I want to introduce you to Shawn and also just show, this is one of his amazing records he did with John Barry, which if you can find it on vinyl, it's hard to find, but also on CD, is a remarkable recording that he did in Abbey Road, one of his favorite locations. It's called Moviola. This is a record that John Barry, he went back to his old scores and rearranged them for full orchestra, going very much into his later style, which was slower, more symphonic style that we also heard in his film scores. And they put this record together, and it is an absolutely gorgeous sounding record, and on CD as well, streaming as well. But here's Shawn Murphy, a true legend, and we're just thrilled that he's here tonight.
Bravo.
Well, I didn't prepare a speech, so we'll just do a quick thank you to the Audiophile Society, LA and Orange County, for recognizing this. It's very unusual for a project like this to get recognized by people who really do listen, people who really are able to determine the quality of the recording. We always do the best that we can. We always try to please ourselves. We always try to work with the performers to get the best version of what we're doing, but you never know how it's going to be received. You just do the best you can. So for the Boston Symphony, for Andres Nelsons and Yuja Wang, who are our soloists and conductor, and the Boston Symphony, thank you very much for this. I mean, it's really, really an honor, and I recognize the fact that it's a unique honor to be recognized by a group like this. So thank you very much, and I don't know if...
So Shawn, here's the award. I think we got the catalog number already.
Yeah. It's even got the catalog number, and it's
very thorough.
And the vinyl number. Now the interesting thing is, you know, this is part of a series, a Shostakovich series, which we've been working on it for 10 years in Boston, and it includes all the symphonies, it includes all 6 of the concertos, and it includes the opera. And it came out as a 19 CD box set or something like that. I don't know, you know, huge. And we think they're all really good. We think we've worked really hard with the crew in Boston. It's released on DG, but the recording team is entirely Boston Symphony people, with myself and editors and mastering people who are really expert at what they do. So for all them, it takes this group to accomplish what we're doing. So thank you very much. Yep.
Okay.
Do it.
Get in the picture, Mark, for God's sake.
You realize this is mostly about Bob, right?
It's a picture.
Okay. We're good. Thank you so much. I'll give you the Okay. What's great is that what's that? You want to interfere in this?
Yeah.
Bob,
Shawn, where are you? I don't want you to disappear. Come back here. Because I'm concerned you're gonna disappear on us. Yeah, before I have a chance to do this. Shawn, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Los Angeles and Orange County Audio Society, and as Chairman of the Board, it is my pleasure to make you a lifetime member of the Society with all the rights and privileges thereof. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bob. That's an honor. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now it's yours.
Yeah. So what's really great about that is I remember reviewing Dances with Wolves and all the other soundtracks that Shawn had recorded and how great they were, and Classic Records put them out, and then I interviewed Shawn. And so now, 20-something years later, we come back and do this again, and it's just a fantastic feeling. So I did you okay, Bob, right, with the first record that you made? Okay, good. Okay, good, so I'm doing okay. All right, next up, what do we have? We have the President's Award, and this is Michael Wechsberg. You're going to give a award to someone?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the president, and he's going to give an award. This is the easy part of my job. Okay.
Okay, so
Get the mic.
I hope he didn't leave the room here. So the President's Award. So it's a tradition here at the Audio Society. It was started by Bob Levy quite a few years ago. For the president to select a member for the President's Award. Other awards have a selection process associated with them, participation by the board of directors and all, and others. This award is made by one person, and in this case, that's me. And the award is given to a single person who has given outstanding service to the society over the year and been of personal service to the president. So I'm not seeing him right now. He was here. But the award this year is going to Alex Chazez. Alex, oh, there he is.
I'm going to keep it short and just say thank you very much. And if you haven't joined, please join. Thank you.
We're going to have the 6th Innovation Award, and I'm going to introduce, Carolyn Counnas is going to introduce Bernie Grundman, and Bob asked me to say a few words about Bernie Grundman without having written anything, and who needs to have anything written down to talk about what Bernie Grundman has done. Bernie was at Contemporary Records and established a fantastic career there. Then he was at A&M Records, and I was on the lot a lot because my ex-girlfriend was at A&M Records. I'm sure I bumped into you once or twice. And Bernie cut the original Joni Mitchell Blue. I mean, just that alone is an amazing accomplishment. And on and on and on. And then he established his own mastering facility in Hollywood on Gower Avenue. Is that where it is? Gower, which I've been to multiple times. You know, I was there once. Bernie had cut Kind of Blue from the 3-track master, and I went back like a year later, and it was still sitting there, along with all the Led Zeppelin tapes, still sitting there. And I would say, Bernie, what are these tapes doing here? And he said, I called them, but they don't want to get them. And now Sony won't let anything out to anybody. That's how things have changed in this business. So I will stop talking, and Carolyn, why don't you come up here and say what you're going to say about Bernie, and then because Bernie's one of the greats in this business. So.
All right, let's do it. All right, you're going to need to take that out while I'm doing this. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is, as Executive Vice President of the LA Orange County Audio Society, it is my honor to welcome you to one of my favorite and most meaningful moments of the year. It's the presentation of the George and Carolyn Counnas Innovation Award. Each year, this award celebrates an individual whose contributions have fundamentally advanced the art and experience of recorded sound. Tonight, I'm losing my voice. Oh, shit. You have no idea how much I talk today. Let me have the water right there, please.
Here you go. I'm right here.
I know. I'm not nervous, I swear. But anyway, tonight we honor someone whose mastery shapes how we experience the music. Someone who brings the final creative touch that turns great recordings into timeless listening experiences. Oh, wow. This year's Innovation Award recipient is the incomparable Bernie Grundman. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, for most of us in this room, Bernie needs no introduction. Yeah, I am. George and I talked, I've had this like cough and I'm losing my voice for 7 days now. So, you good with it? Or do you want Fremer to do it?
Want me to do it?
Yeah, why don't you do it?
It's a cold read, ladies and gentlemen. The pressure is on.
It's really good, but I mean, this sounds like a chalkboard, scratching a
You
chalkboard.
want me to do this? Where are we?
Right there.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I hope it's not COVID. Okay. Okay, for most of us in this room, Bernie requires no introduction. His name is synonymous with mastering itself. His studios have influenced an astonishing portion of modern music history. But what truly sets Bernie apart isn't just his longevity or reputation, it's his vision. Mastering is often called the final creative step before the music reaches the world. Bernie elevated it into something more profound. He calls it a bridge between the artist's intention and the listener's emotional experience. He reminds us that while great equipment and specifications matter, what truly counts are the ears and the years. The ears and the years. And Bernie has brought both consistently, generously, and with an unmatched integrity. Bernie's story begins in Minneapolis and unfolds in Phoenix, where he was a hi-fi enthusiast before most teenagers even knew what hi-fi meant. I think a lot of people in this room are in that same category. In this room, he is known as an original audiophile, then spent his life in search of the best sound possible. By 19, he was running his own jazz club, a sign of his lifelong passion for both sound and musicianship. After serving in the Air Force's Electronic Countermeasures Division, he began as a second engineer in a small Phoenix studio. In 1966, he moved to Los Angeles, where he became a mastering engineer for Contemporary Records, and many of you have those great contemporary records that he was involved with. 2 years later, he was hired to launch the mastering division for A&M Records, which soon became one of the finest anywhere. Then, in 1984, he opened his own world-renowned Bernie Grundman Mastering Studio here in Los Angeles. And today, at 84 years old, he is still energized, still curious, and masters more than 200 projects a year, which is incredible. Now, am I reading this part also, the whole thing? Okay, this is, how much time have you got? Okay. A philosophy built on emotional truth. If you ask Bernie to define mastering, he won't begin with gear or technical explanations. He begins with emotion. His philosophy is grounded in a few core principles, some of which are less is more, preserve clarity and honesty, never take away more than you add, stay open-minded, never prejudiced. Every artist and every genre deserves the same respect. Honor the performance. The instruments and the musicians always come first. Lastly, and most importantly, use your ears above all. As Bernie says, nothing analyzes complex signals better than human hearing. And I think every reviewer in this room says amen to that. Amen to that. Okay, now the next page here is, there's a famous quote that says, science is what you need, but magic is what you want. And that magic, Bernie's magic, is what makes his work unmistakable. Just ask A.B. Fon from Impex Records, sitting here in the audience today. Where is she?
Right to your
Oh, okay. Hi, A.B. Who said to Carolyn, it's amazing. There have been over 400 reissues of Stan Getz' Gilberto recording with Girl from Ipanema, and it wasn't until Bernie Grundman mastered it that I finally understood what defines a great engineer from an engineering legend. He is truly a living treasure. Bernie's studios embody his dedication to excellence. With 7 rooms, including 5.1 studio, his facility can handle nearly every analog and digital format in existence. Every console, EQ, and piece of electronics is famously hot-rodded, all custom-built in-house with discrete components that deliver consistency and precision without sacrificing musicality. Bernie's fingerprints are on some of the most iconic recordings ever made. In fact, he has an astonishing 6,484 mastering credits to his name. It's probably up to 6,485 as we speak. Some of his most notable credits include Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones, Stevie Wonder, Prince, Steely Dan, Van Halen, Barbra Streisand, Outkast, The Carpenters, and thousands more. Those aren't just albums, they're touchstones, works that shaped culture, memory, and emotion. Behind each one is Bernie's commitment to accuracy, nuance, and honesty. I asked Chad Kassem, owner of Acoustic Sounds, about Bernie, and he said, hey, Bernie is the nicest, he's the most professional guy you'll ever meet, man. He's a real audiophile. I gotta leave out these couple of words that he said. That dude loves music, man. He loves what he does, and no one is kind of more generous with their knowledge. That's what he said. In a field known, it's not that great an impression, but it'll do. In a field known for oversized personalities, Bernie proves that greatness and humility can absolutely go hand in hand. Innovation doesn't always mean reinventing the wheel. Sometimes innovation is perfecting the fundamentals so completely that you will elevate the entire field. Bernie has innovated, transforming mastering from a technical stage into a true creative art, designing equipment around emotion rather than specifications, balancing analog warmth with digital precision, preserving the humanity of music in an era that often compresses it away, remaining endlessly curious across 6 remarkable decades. He has not only shaped recordings, but he has shaped how we understand sound. Bernie once said his role is to help artists realize the full emotional potential of their recordings. Bernie, you have done that, and now I can speak for me. I'm speaking for her, but I'm speaking for me. You have done that, you've done more than that. You've enriched the emotional potential of generations of listeners. Your work has brought us joy, connection, and countless unforgettable moments in our listening rooms, and everybody can say that's true. On behalf of the Los Angeles and you want to do this part of it? Since it's your award.
I can do it
yeah,
now.
you can do that part. Okay. Thank you.
I gotta Okay. Michael, you can exhale. All right? You may exhale now. Okay. Okay, on behalf of the Los Angeles and Orange County Audio Society, and in recognition of your extraordinary impact on the world of recorded music, congratulations, Bernie, and thank you for a lifetime of sonic magic. It is my profound honor to present the George and Carolyn Counnas Innovation Award to the one and only Bernie Grundman.
Oh, it's all, okay. Well, you know, I didn't hear what she was going to say. And I worked out a bunch of things at home and so forth and all of that, because I figured, well, I'll probably have to say a few things. And she said exactly what I wrote. I mean, I'm not kidding. Almost everything I wrote is exactly, she actually did better than I did, as far as, you know, just being able to describe all of these things that I've been doing for many, many years. And in fact, there was only a couple places that I wanted to point out, and that was, like, a lot of people don't really understand mastering completely, and because it used to be so behind the scenes, and they didn't know what part of it mastering played when it came to mixing and all of this. You have all of these areas that you're dealing with, and different hands get there. But the last work is done in mastering, because that's what's done before it goes to the factory. That's where the final master is made, and that's where you work it out with the producer, with the artist. And that's why it's so hidden in some ways, because it's not, a lot of things you see on TV, they want to show the musicians, they want to show everybody, all the movement going on, all the activity, whereas it's very intimate when it comes to mastering. And it's that time when, and I always wrote this, I call mastering the sobering part of the releasing of a record. It's the sobering, in other words, a lot of producers, artists, they've been in the studio with really great sound systems. And when anybody new walks in the door, they turn up the volume. And everybody is all excited because of just loud. And that's, but then when they come in to see me, all of a sudden, they're like sitting in the corner. And it's like, what do we really have here? How do we compete? Will this hold up against what? And I have to calm them all down. I'll say, look, that's true. Nobody's going to be standing there when your record comes on to turn up the level. But, so that's why, when I set a level and I'm going to set up your recording, I don't touch it. And I want to hear things that you believe in, and the things that similar to what you do that are successful. And if you work in the business for a long time, you get to know the ones that are the best. And when you find one better, that's your standard as the mastering engineer. You know how good they can be, whatever type of music it is. So when somebody comes in, you're kind of comparing to the best you've heard, and you're trying to make it be as effective as that. And so that's some of the challenges. So at least you have some kind of a guide about how good it can be. And a lot of those things are even things that I did. So it's one of those interesting kind of abilities to try to have it fit with what's going to be playing on the radio of that type of music too. You know, there's all kinds of different types of music, different approaches. And sometimes you don't want the dynamics; you just want a lot of power, and that's why they're always coming in and sitting in the corner. They don't even want to say anything. Like even Prince, when he would come in, I had no idea that he did what he does on stage. I thought, I've never seen him like that. I've only seen him in the studio when he first started out, and running all over the place and doing all kinds of stuff. And so. But they come in a lot of times. A lot of artists come in and they're very quiet because they don't really know. There's a sense of uncertainty because they've been hyping themselves. And when people walk in the door, they keep turning it up. So they just want to know what I think. And so then I get to work on what I'm trying to do. And I'm also trying to make it communicate even better than what they have. So I try to pick out important elements of the mix, and I want those to really be easy to access if I sense myself, and I'm using myself, my emotional responses to things. I'm trying to get it so any listener is going to get the message more easily, just something I can do. I can create a sound stage that actually draws in the attention of the listener. So, and there are a lot of things you could do in mastering. And the thing is, our systems are all built by Ben O'May, who's here, and and our systems are all discrete components, and we have unusual ways of setting things up, and we have double boards, so we can listen to what came in and immediately compare to what we're doing equalization-wise. So we have all of these flexibilities in the studio, so we really don't fool ourselves either. So it's a special system that way, in that we also have, on our console, we have, you manipulate the sound with the equalization system and so forth. Ours is really elaborate. It's all analog, and it's done in such a way that they have about 30 frequencies, all kinds of curves too. We have more than one curve. We have 2 or 3 curves, but we can pick just ones we think are going to be needed, and then none of the other ones are in the circuit. Then we only punch in the ones we want, which is really unique in the industry, because usually you're going through everything. You just don't have it turned in and out. But ours are completely bypassed. Only the ones we're using. That's why whatever we do to it, we want to get more than we're losing, because you're always losing when you're setting the signal through anything in the system. So and some of the recordings we make go direct from the recording right to the cutting system. And so we can do that too. We have 3 different passages or ways of sending the signal to try to avoid any electronics, because no matter how good the electronics are, they always interfere a little bit. So you better be gaining more than you're losing. And that's what we try to determine also. So, and also we have people that'll ask us, they'll say, well, we have this equalizer that's really great. You got to try it. And so we have a way of doing that. We have the double system. That's so we can do a lot of changes between tunes. We don't have to stop any system, anything like that. We don't have to make a new copy. We can do it on the fly. So that way, that's better for quality. If you have to transfer everything to something else because you're doing a lot of changes, then you're going to lose a generation. We try to avoid all of that. But so if somebody wants us to try something, we'll say, okay, yeah, we'd like to hear it, because we always want to know if there's something better out there. Everybody should know that. You are in that business to try to find the best, and this thing that's going to do the most justice to whatever project you're working on. So we'll substitute it with ours, and then I'll put it through the system with no equalization though, no adjustment, just the electronics, the basic electronics of whatever it has. And then we switch between those and see what difference there is between ours and theirs. And if we see degradation coming from theirs without any EQ, why would we want it? You're already starting out with something inferior. And just things like that's kind of our philosophy, is we want to have a clean signal path. That's all. We want to do justice to whatever we're working on. So that's kind of a consolidation of what I was going to. Yeah. They itemized. Itemized everything that I was. I didn't even know you knew that much about me. That was pretty. That was pretty. Yeah. Well, I have been. Yeah, because it was like 1949, I think, when I was even fascinated by my dad's 78s, and when I was just a kid, when I was 8 years old. So it was written, I was going to be a recording engineer or a mastering engineer or something in that industry, because that's the way I always was anyway. When I went to the movie theater or whatever when I was just a teenager, I was more interested in the projector and how it was done and all of that. It was so I was destined to be somewhere in all this whole thing that I'm in now. But it's been good for me, and of course I'm a bebop jazz lover, classical lover, or anything with great sound. I mean, it really is wonderful for me to be around it, and I've been doing it for a long time. And that's, yeah, and the interesting, and one other thing I wanted to say about mastering. You know, a lot of people don't understand where it actually starts or where it ends or whatever, things like that. And mastering, way in the beginning, actually, the mastering was just cutting the disc. It had nothing to do with the sound. It was just cutting the disc. I mean, maybe the cutter head and, you know, the electronics leading up to it, fine. But it used to be where, if there was something that, they used to do it all on tape, way in the 50s and stuff like that. Used to do it on tape. So if the producer and the engineer came in with an album, and okay, so they decide then they cut them a test ref, but they've made the tape. It's already there. It comes direct in, and they find a tune that they want to change. What they used to do, especially the major labels, is they used to then send the whole assembly back to the producer and engineer and mixer. They would have to take that tune that they wanted to change and do a copy of that with the changes in the studio, and then insert that back into it, and the mastering engineer would cut it flat. So mastering didn't get to be a creative part until later. It wasn't in the 50s. So, and even stereo discs didn't come out to the late 50s. So, in all of this stuff, I was there. So I know. I even had an after-hours jazz club when I was 19. So, you know, I was really into music and sound, but I mean, it's so flattering. I mean, I can't even say it even better for myself. I have to make a recording of that. But anyway, thank you for all of the respect.
Thank you, Bernie Grundman, a man I've always wanted to meet, and my dream came true today.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we can leave that for now. You want to leave this up here?
No. I want everyone to know that I designed this trophy at the beginning of 7 years ago, because I wanted it to connote the idea of a flying high and continuing the quest. And I went nuts over it, trying to figure out how to do it. And that's the background on the trophy. As far as the great Bernie Grundman is concerned, it is my pleasure as chairman of the board of the Los Angeles and Orange County Audio Society, the world's largest audio society, to make you a lifetime member of the society with all the rights and privileges thereof. Congratulations, Bernie Grundman.
Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. No, it's a real honor.
Good. Well, the honor for us, believe me. And we're coming to your studio to take a look at it.
Oh, you should. Oh, you should. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. And we're always available to show it off.
I want to.
Cool.
Okay.
Hey, Bernie's happy to sign some albums, an album, not more than one. So during the event, if you have one, he's got some pens up here, and he'd be happy to do that.
They have to buy raffle tickets first.
Oh, yeah, you know, minimum, of course, they just closed up, but I'll take it. I know how to do that machine.
There are a couple of Bernie recordings.
By the way, one thing that wasn't mentioned on the Shostakovich album that won the Audiophile Recording of the Year award, which is the only award given by audiophiles to a recording. All other awards are done by producers, directors, artists, etc., which is why we started this. We managed to get 10 copies of it, which wasn't easy. And I think, Mark Hoover, who at Audiophile USA, got those 10 copies back there to sell, and I think he probably, I don't know how many he has left. I have no idea. He has 2 copies left. So if you want a copy of this, and I got to tell you, it's hard to get this. They didn't make that many of them.
Bernie will sign that even though he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and Bernie will sign it because it sounds good. Anyway, you got 2 copies left if you want to head back there and grab one before it disappears. Okie dokie, sir.
Okay, well now it's time for the main event, the Founders Award, and I am very proud to be able to give this award out. But first I have to do a little bit of slicing it. What?
There are 6 founders present in the room right now.
Okay, I'll mention that.
Yes.
Bob asked me to tell you that there are 6 Founder Award winners in the room today, and I think that's a record number.
I haven't seen that many.
We haven't seen that
20th
many.
anniversary.
Okay, so that's great. So I think they should all get a round of applause, except I'm not going to applaud myself. So, since we're giving an award out to a loudspeaker manufacturer, and we have a bunch of audiophiles here, I want to tell you one of the best loudspeaker audiophile jokes ever. Maybe you know this one. Paul Klipsch and Amar Bose meet on the street. Do you know this joke? So Paul Klipsch and Amar Bose meet on the street, and Paul Klipsch goes, "Hey, Amar, how you doing?" And Amar goes, "I'm doing great, Paul. How are you?" Okay, is that a great joke? And you tell that to audiophiles and they love it. You tell it to the average person and they go, what is that? All right, so good afternoon, and thank you, Bob, Michael, board members, Dais inhabitants, society members, and gala attendees. I've now spun at 16 2/3, at 33 1/3, at 45, and this year I spin at 78. So I've spun at all 4 speeds, and I hope that all of you are fortunate enough to get to do that, because it's a great thing to be able to say that. So the groove's been very fast at 78, and I can't believe a year has passed since I roasted Dan D'Agostino here in the room, and with that big Flavor Flav clock that I had that he was not happy about. But, so I've been doing these gala roasts now for at least a decade. I did Harry Weisfeld 10 years ago, and it was easy enough to roast like Chad Kassem, because Chad is like a walking, talking roast. I mean, he opens his mouth and you can roast him. If you remember, I likened him to Moses in a basket made of clarinet reeds floating down the Mississippi River to Lafayette Radio, Louisiana. And wearing a Queen Elizabeth wig, "I knighted Andrew Jones. Is he here? Is Andrew here? I don't see him, but I knighted him. I imagined John Atkinson as a loudspeaker, and I measured him for the audience. I lauded George Carter's here for his golf game, not for the snake oil. I mean, the cables that he sells. And we like to make fun of people a little bit. And I congratulated John Grado for all of his Uncle Joe's work, not for anything he ever did. And so, we have a little bit of fun. So when I got the Founders Award, I of course, thanked myself and magnanimously said I couldn't have accomplished all that I had without me, because that was kind of true. So these were fun roasts, and everyone had a good time. But this year's roast will be the most difficult I've ever done, because this year, of course, I have a big problem, which is that one of the recipients absolutely has refused to show up. And I asked, but the answer I got was no, for an obvious reason, because Dave Wilson is definitely in a better place than at the Hilton Doubletree Buena Park. I'm quite convinced of that. So, and it's nowhere near where anyone gets roasted, where he is, you can be sure. That place, of course, is reserved for audio reviewers, not for manufacturers who, as we all know, because they tell us so, do God's work. So, although, if you remember, as Robert said, Dave started in the business as an absolute sound reviewer. So, where Dave is right now, the soundstage width and depth go on forever. It's infinite. Harp glissandos sound like the real thing, because they are. Group delay, an issue here, but not there. If you were friends with Dave, you know that the only thing wicked about him was he had a droll, pun-laden, wicked sense of humor. An engineering's kind of sense of humor. Someone told me that one time, at an age when men should probably stop doing it, Dave had climbed up a ladder and fell off. That happened, right? And fortunately, he wasn't hurt, but Sheryl commanded, "No more ladder climbing," to which Dave replied, without missing a beat, "I have now joined the Church of the Unlatter-day Saints." It's so good, so good. So speaking of falling, I think you remember this, Sheryl. Years ago at a vegetarian Indian restaurant in the UK during the Heathrow show, Wilson's European importer Riccardo Franisovici challenged me and Ken Kessler to make you and Dave laugh. And I'm not sure what it was. I think I was doing my Jackie Mason impression. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. I don't know. It couldn't be. Could have been something else. I'm not sure. But you didn't fall on the floor. But you remind me that Dan D'Agostino fell on the floor. We had him having laughing. So I wish it would have been you, because then it would have been better for this event. But that's okay. By the way, you know who invented sushi? Jackie Mason would say the Jews invented sushi because they figured out a way to open a restaurant without having to invest in a kitchen. So I think it was a great joke. While Dave and his team did all the innovating and inventing over most of the company's 50 years, as Robert said, Sheryl Lee ran the business, and she was tough, let me tell you, so I'm not going to make any jokes at her expense. I know better than to do that, but there are other people here we can make jokes about. So, besides, she had Daryl, and that's funny enough, so this Daryl. You know, I have known Daryl a really long time, and I like to kid him. Unfortunately, I don't often get the opportunity because there's a long line of people in front of me that want to do that. So, am I being too cruel? I'm not being too cruel. Just joking. So, as some of you know, I am very partial to Wilson Audio speakers, and I have reviewed and owned many pairs over the years, and I own them now, which makes it much easier to do this because I love the products. So now I have the big XVXs, which I was able to afford because of the stupid money I earned when I was an expert witness for Quincy Jones when he sued the estate of Michael Jackson. And I tell that story on my Tracking Angle YouTube channel, which you might enjoy watching. So during all the years that I've reviewed Wilson speakers, I got to know many of the people who work at the factory for the company. And so I started getting these phone calls from many of these Wilson employees after it was announced that Daryl was named to run the company. And most of the conversations, they were all pretty much the same call. It was every person called me and say, "Hey, Mike, how you doing? Have you got the phone number of Alon Wolf over at Magico by chance?" And that was a great joke. You got that joke. You didn't find that funny? Come on, that's a fun. Okay, is that too cruel? Was that too cruel? It was a good joke. Oh, I'm kidding. So anyway, that's all I'm going to do about making fun of anybody here, because this is not. Also, it's not about Daryl. And I can only make that joke because the truth of the matter is that since Daryl has taken over the helm of the company is now manufacturing bottom to top the best and most consistent sounding high performance loudspeakers in the company's history. And I think everybody involved that reviews these products will agree to that. It's incredible. And that's why the Absolute Sound recently gave Daryl that well-deserved Hall of Fame award, right? At a very young age. I mean, most of the people who get it are actually decrepit, but he's a young man. So the Wilson lineup's consistent sonic excellence results in a great part from the 7-inch Quadramag mid-range driver that Dave had spent the last half-decade of his life developing with his design team. And sadly, he ran out of the time before it could be introduced in a speaker, which turned out to be the XVX, and it helped give that speaker, if you've heard an XVX properly played back, a live-in-the-room sound that on the right recording makes it sound like the musician is hiding behind the speaker and playing live in the room. I've had people come over and say, "It sounds like Kenny Dorham is right behind that speaker," and it's that convincing. So the Quadramag driver is now found in most of the company's speaker lineup. So, you know, Dave's heart and soul is in every speaker that they make now, which I think is fantastic. So one anecdote before I get to the award. I recently had a visit from Luca Chesky, which some of you know, is David Chesky's son, who at 18 is probably the youngest loudspeaker designer in our business. And he wanted to come over to get a top quality vinyl experience. So the Cheskys visited and Luca sat in the chair. And I don't remember what I played for him, but within a few seconds he blurted out something like, "Wow, these speakers have been dialed in right for here. Everything is so three-dimensional." He had never really had that experience before, and that's something that speaker absolutely does. And they do it because of the physical driver placement, everything that Dave had been working on since the original Wham. And then David Chesky sat and we played his daughter Paloma's CD, and he said, "These speakers nail the timbre of her voice. This is exactly what this CD should sound like." So that's from a confirmed quad electronics guy with some of the best ears in the business. So I know that my system is doing great, and I know the speakers are absolutely fantastic. So I don't want this to sound like a Wilson Audio commercial, which it already is, but the fact is the family is paying me a lot for what I'm saying, so I have to be good at this. So let's get to the Founders Award, which goes to David and Sheryl Wilson, who together in 1974 founded and built Wilson Audio Specialties into one of the world's most successful high-performance loudspeaker companies. And I think it's safe to say that while Dave's design ideas sparked the company, as Robert already said, Wilson Audio Specialists would never have succeeded as it has without Sheryl determination, drive, and entrepreneurial spirit. So she made things happen, and that's what I've been told by the people who know. And as Robert said, that's exactly what happened. So the company started in a garage to modify turntables and produce world-class recordings, but within a few years in 1981, Wilson had produced the original multi-movable enclosure Wham, a one-off design for a few wealthy audiophiles that was also a means by which Dave could test his time domain speaker alignment ideas. 45 plus years later, within a couple of bars of music, the same kid immediately heard what Dave had envisioned all those years earlier and marveled at what Dave had done. And I just found it so cool that a kid sitting there could immediately hear what these speakers managed to do that he'd never heard before, even though he's filled with stereo in his father's house. And this past Thursday, as I was writing this, he messengered me again. He said, I'm sitting here listening to my stereo in college, and I have to say, I keep thinking about when you played those direct-to-disc records on your Wilsons. I mean, it made such an impression on the kid from August to last week that he got in touch with me about this, so it's fantastic. So in 1986, I joined the Absolute Sound as the popular music editor and went to my first audio show in that capacity. And Dave was doing a demo, and I asked a question. I was pretty much nobody, and he knew who I was. I don't know how, but he did. And at that point, and he identified me, and he went out of his way to say a few nice things about me that made me really feel welcome in this business and accepted. And I don't remember the words that he used, but I'll never forget how it made me feel, because it made me feel like I was part of this business. And that's the generosity that I always felt from Dave whenever I would see him, the same generosity from that first day. So around the same time, I was assigned by Harry Pearson to interview the legendary recording engineer Roy Halley. Graceland had just been released, and I drove up to Roy's home in Connecticut to interview him. He showed me his big system, which included Infinity IRS loudspeakers and Jadis tube electronics. It was basically Harry Pearson's reference system. And Roy said to me, that's the system I listen to for fun. What I've recorded, I listened to this system. And he pointed to Mark Levinson Electronics and a pair of the then new Wilson Watts. That's what he listened to when he wanted to hear what he had recorded. And that is what Dave designed those speakers to do. And of course, sometimes the fact is what you've recorded isn't so great. And so a speaker that tells you what's going on in the recording is not necessarily what somebody at home would want to have. But that's what that speaker did. So years later, I visited Roy at his home in Boulder, Colorado, where I think he had a pair of Alexandria X2s. And he had a Rockport System 3 Series turntable, and it was quite a nice system. And this was his only system. And he said to me, now, with this system, I know what's on my recordings, and I can enjoy and have fun listening to music at the same time. So I'm preparing this not knowing what Robert Harley, I'm reading what I wrote, which I didn't know what Robert Harley was going to say, but he covered everything that I wanted to say about Dave and Sheryl and the story of the company and the craftsmanship that's built into their products, the attention to detail, as any of us who have visited the factory have seen, how they treat their employees and their customers, and why they continue on 5 decades later as a successful family-run business that's respected around the world. And I've traveled around the world and visited people in their homes all over the world, and it shows all over the world. And you hear that same respect and that same love for the company and the products, and it's really an amazing, it's a great all-American success story, and with Daryl at the helm, it's in really good hands. So on behalf of the LA and Orange County Audio Society, I am very happy to present this year's Founder Award to David and Sheryl Wilson, and to Daryl, who didn't want to take part of it. I'm twisting his arm to get up here because he deserves part of it too. And did I just hear a dog barking? I think I just heard a dog barking. That's a new. You have the award here? I'm so happy. I will read the award. Can you grab that box from me? I will read the award. I don't want to smudge it up. Founders Award presented to Sheryl Wilson and David E. Wilson, II of Wilson Audio Specialties, Inc., for extraordinary contributions to fine audio and audiophiles worldwide, December 7th, 2025. And it's such a pleasure to keep this to you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Beautiful. Thank you. Such a special day. Thank you so very much. And Mikey, as I think Dave might say if he were here, that he's glad he found her. Such a beautiful time of year. I love Christmas. It's the time we celebrate the birth of our Savior. Dave loved Christmas too. Let me give you a little insight to a Dave at 14 years old. The year is 1958. He wanted a chemistry set. He went to bed a little bit early so the night would pass quickly and he could open up those enticing packages under the Christmas tree. However, all of a sudden he heard Christmas carols ringing through the air from a choir somewhere near. He thought that was interesting and kind of fun, and then the second and third and fourth, and he got a little bit perturbed. So he got up to see who was disturbing his sleep, and there was no one there. But his neighbor, Bob Wills, had put his clipshorns out on the porch and was playing Christmas carols for everyone in the neighborhood. He was amazed. He had actually been fooled to think that there were people there. That was the spark that got him interested in audio. He read voluminously. He wanted to see if he could create something just like that, and he experimented. Infinite baffles. He took a driver and put it in his window. The big wide world was his infinite baffle. He also experimented with rubber tires. He put a driver in some automobile tires, and he called it the Goodyear Special. Over the years, things progressed, and this was his love and passion, but of course he thought that he could never make a living building loudspeakers, so he was practical. He did major in chemistry and in zoology, and he excelled in that field also. He has several patents in the medical field. But while he was doing his day job, audio consumed his nights and evening, and mine as well, and kids. Got to a point where it was either day job or Wilson Audio, and yeah, I pushed him to try Wilson Audio. I thought, what if we got to 50, which was 30 years ago, and thought, what would it have been like if we had tried that? And I'm so glad we did. It's been a life full of wonderful music and friends and people. Just love you. That's one thing that I loved about Dave, his concept of divine kinship, that we are all interrelated, that we all have ties to each other, that we all can help and benefit. This is a difficult road of life. Music can help us along that road. Good friends and family are the treasures in this life. It was because of audio that I met Dave, so I'll ever be grateful for his hobby. Just can't tell you how much this honor means. In 2016, Dave and I celebrated our golden anniversary. And last year, Wilson Audio celebrated our golden anniversary. I'm so glad I majored in theater arts instead of business. I never would have recognized that so many businesses fail. I think only 5%, they say, are still in business after 5 years. But we persisted, and I'm so grateful. We were blessed so abundantly with friends like you. I just look around and see, Marcia and Mikey and Robert, and so glad to have met you, Bob and Mike. This has just been such a great honor. I guess because of my training in theater arts, I can say I am truly an acting executive. I'm so glad that Dave had the tenacity and the ears and the desire to contribute to this world. He loved music. He wanted to do speakers so that he could send music into homes around the world. And that I'm so thankful we've been able to do. I'm so grateful too that Dave had, in theater you say you're a triple threat if you can sing, act, and dance. In audio, Dave was a triple threat. He could write, he could record, and he could design speakers, and he could teach, which he did wonderfully with our son, who was an avid learner. So grateful that Daryl was so anxious to learn the craft. When we established Wilson Audio in '74, Daryl was -4. And I'd like him to take a few minutes because he is the one that has carried on the legacy. I did the business end, I did the headaches there. Dave did the design and the engineering and taught Daryl so well. And I am so grateful that he has been able to continue the legacy. All of the speakers that are in our lineup now are Daryl's. They're his design, except for the wham. And it's been just such a joy to watch him as he has developed and designed and allowed me to step back and do fun things that I'd like to do. So I want to turn a few minutes over to him. Daryl?
So this mic is a cruel joke. It's a Bob height mic. So I hope that you can hear me. Is this okay? Is this okay? So like the atheist said on his deathbed, here goes nothing, right? I've learned 2 things in life. I forgot the first one, but the second one is write things down. So I have a little cheat sheet right here. Look at you, Mikey. It's all hopped up on string cheese and record dust. That was great. That was great. So I was asking Mikey what was appropriate to say. You know, how long should I take? He said 56 minutes, and then later he clarified 5 to 6 minutes. And I timed this. This is only 4 minutes, so please bear with me. He responded, just a few words about your parents and what you're up to now to honor them, then thank the society for the award, and then tell everyone how great and handsome I am. And most of that's true. Most of that's true. Mikey, you are great, and thank you for the personal conversations and the counsel you've given me over the decades, really. And thank you, Bob. You're throwing a great party. This is a great party. And everyone at the Audio Society here. And thank all of you for taking the time out of your day to come here and hopefully win some stuff. So it's great to see everyone, and I've loved meeting the people that have come up and talked with me. Thank you. And for any Wilson owners in here, thank you, thank you. So full disclosure, this talk was not written by ChatGPT, so if it's bad, it's all my fault. Wilson Audio is entering its 52nd year now. It's true, not many things last 50 years in a world where most things are designed to diminish with time. How many marriages last 50 years? It's wonderful to see Dave and Sheryl lasted 52 years. How many businesses last 50 years? We all admire cars and watches and things that are taken really good care of at that 50-year mark. And strangely, McDonald's hamburgers look about the same after 50 years as they do when you buy them. And I was thinking of Mikey, and I was wondering if it was a compliment to say, "You've aged like a McDonald's cheeseburger." So growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. And in its infancy, Wilson Audio was founded and funded by more than a dozen credit cards, a lot of debt. And in fact, we ended up losing our home when I was a kid. My little stomach looked forward to what my parents would call snow-capped franks. It was mashed potatoes with hot dogs cut up into it. We loved it. There was a fair share of stress, but that was held at bay by how these two amazing people defined their ideals. Their belief in a loving Heavenly Father and the eternal principles formed a bedrock of how many personal and professional decisions are made. Many of these choices were really hard, but it could be argued that they weren't strategic, but in the long run, they were the right decisions. One of the biggest lessons they taught me was how they treat people. My mom mentioned divine kinship. It's been hard. I know how big the shoes are that I stepped into. And we're surrounded by so many wonderful people at Wilson Audio. Really, one of the greatest achievements that I see at Wilson Audio is the Guild of Craftspeople. 60 people there with the average tenure of 12 and a half years. And they maintain the culture of divine kinship, as well as striving to build and develop the best. The North Star of Wilson Audio and the way we design and fine-tune and build loudspeakers all harkens back to that feeling that we get in the concert hall. The way the air changes with live unamplified music. This experience has a way of touching the soul, and we chase this feeling in the systems that we curate at home. Every element of our speakers and the way we create them is to get closer to the music, to get closer to that part of ourselves that we want to be, we aspire to, or even parts of us that we miss, and to get closer to what the artist wanted you to hear as that recording engineer presses record. With our sights firmly set on that, it's truly amazing what we've been able to build over the last 52 years. And think of it, it all started with two lovebirds risking it all to... This isn't what you paid for, to see a grown man cry. I apologize. I apologize. To follow their dreams and the passion of connecting with sound and their unwavering belief in each other. So, let's raise our glass to Dave Wilson, who's here in spirit, and to the incredible woman, professional, organizational genius, and co-founder of Wilson Audio, Sheryl Lee Wilson. Congratulations for trailblazing a lasting path as audio pioneers. Cheers.
As Dave would say, perfection in this life is impossible, but excellence is attainable. And that's our goal in this life, in our lives, and in sound. Thank you. Such an honor.
Daryl, come back. My friends, on behalf of the Los Angeles and Orange County Audio Society, it is my pleasure as chairman of the board to make you both lifetime members of the society with all the rights and privileges thereof. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was really wonderful. Just a quick announcement before we go to our last bit of business. I've just heard from Mark Hoover back there in the left side of the room, and his distributor has obtained a few more copies of the Yu Wang LP that won the ARYA award here today. He doesn't have the albums here, but you can buy it today, and they'll arrange for shipping or pickup at his place in Los Alamitos.
Does he have any now?
You don't have any more physical albums left, do you? No.
Sold out.
But he's got 10 more, access to 10 more, and he'll get those to you. But you can go ahead and buy them here today, because they'll also be offered to the public. I guess we don't sell them here today. So I encourage you all to do that. So now, you have something you want to say?
Nope.
So now,
The greatest 45 minutes in all of audio history.
okay, my cue card is whispering in my ear. The greatest 45 minutes in all of audio history. Our gala raffle starts right now.
I mean, it's got every trick in the book, and he makes it with Swiss equipment that is used to make Rolexes.
We have with our Colors of the World program we just launched, and we're happy to see someone walk away with it today. So read the number fast so we can go.
All right, 1K, and the winner is, okay, 12058.
You're going to store that card in your wallet. Yeah.
Hey, Bob, you want to
Very
stand
stoked.
up?
I'm getting my workout.
Bob, you want to stand up? Okay.
Towards you.